Hello viewers, hope you all are fine. So this is Dr. Sudha and today I welcome you all to this new video that is based on your lecture number 7 of your unit 3 of your Aecc 1 environment study and disaster management paper for all first semester students of BA BCom B.Sc stream. Okay, so today we will discuss about your disaster management cycle. So prior to this video, we have already discussed what do we mean by disaster, types of disasters, then your institutional arrangements, then about your NDMA, ODRAF, everything is there in 6 classes that is already stored in my playlist. So I have already discussed the complete syllabus of for your unit 1, unit 2, okay, and within few days also you will complete your our unit 3, and I have already uploaded previous year question papers and also some important 1 mark question that is based on fill up the dash and one word answer. So you can go to my playlist and check all the prior videos, okay, that those are there in my YouTube channel, that is Environ World for Students by Dr. Sudha. Okay, so you can type in this channel about your search item. That means suppose you want to search the content about your NDRF and ODRAF. You just type that NDRF and ODRAF in your YouTube and this channel will come and you can watch. Okay. So in this way you can search every item from YouTube and can get your content. Okay. And you can prepare yourself best for your upcoming your examination. That may be your internal examination, maybe your university examination, because you know this is one compulsory paper and all the first semester students in each and every college has to appear an internal examination of 20 marks and one university or interim examination of 80 marks. Okay, so without any loss of time, so we will go to the discussion. But prior to the discussion, I would like to request you to please, those who are new to this channel or already you are viewing all the videos but till yet not subscribed my channel, so please subscribe, like and share so that all of your friends can be benefited from this single channel where every videos are there covering all the contents of your entire paper. Okay, so I have already prepared separate playlist for Odia medium students and separate for English medium students, and also unit wise I have separated the playlist. It will be easy for your finding. Okay, so without further delay, let us discuss what is disaster management cycle. So before discussing the disaster management cycle, here I would like to revise, okay, the terms like what is disaster, okay, and why we need disaster management, everything. Just we will revise these things. Okay, so you all know that we have one Oxford dictionary, isn't it? So as per the Oxford dictionary, the disaster word is defined as a sudden accident. Okay, so what is a disaster? Disaster is nothing but a sudden accident or a natural catastrophe that cause great damage or loss of life. Okay, and you also acquainted with one organization, that is WHO. WHO means World Health Organization, that was frequently come to news during the COVID pandemic situation, isn't it? According to that organization, a disaster can be defined as any occurrence that cause damage. Okay. Ecological disruption, loss of human life, then deterioration of health and health service on a scale then sufficient to warrant an extraordinary response from outside the affected community or area. Then American Red Cross. Okay, American Red Cross defined the disaster as an occurrence either nature or man-made. So we have already discussed the types of disaster. Those are either man-made or natural, isn't it? So that causes human suffering and creates human needs that victims cannot alleviate without assistance. Means the victim persons, means those who are affected, means the affected people, they cannot able to live without any assistance, means they need relief, isn't it? That is American Red Cross definition about disaster. Then what is disaster management? Disaster management is an applied science. These are all important terms, okay? So remember, and which seeks by systematic observation. So disaster management is nothing but a systematic observation. Not only observation but also an analysis of disaster to improve measures, okay, relating to prevention, mitigation, preparedness, emergency response and recovery. So in the disaster management, there are involvement of several steps. What are the steps? So I told that mitigation, then first one is prevention, mitigation, then preparedness, then emergency, response and at last recovery. These are the important steps of disaster management. So next, another definition of disaster, that a disaster is a situation in which the community is incapable of coping. Means when disaster happens, the community, that means the victim people, they are totally incapable of coping. Coping means cope with. Means they are unable to bear that. And it is a natural or human caused event which causes intensive negative impacts. So disaster generally put negative impacts on people. Not only people but also goods, services and on the environment, okay, exceeding the affected community's capacity to respond. Therefore, the community seeks the assistance of government and international agencies and also from assistance from other states also, okay. uh, so this is the disaster definition and disaster management. Then why we need disaster management plans? What is the need of disaster management plan? So disaster preparedness plan plays one vital role. The officials, they have complete set of instructions which they can follow to do and also issue directions to their subordinate means their lower staffs and the affected people. These such affect of only speeding up the rescue and relief operation, because after the disaster, as I discussed earlier, that the victims of the disaster, they need the assistance of government, assistance of international agencies, assistance of other states. Hence they also require what? Food, shelter, medicines, okay, means relief, okay. And some need rescue, means the persons, those are affected by, suppose someone's house has broken, means he or she needs evacuation from that particular point, it is known as rescue, okay. But also boosting the moral of affected people. So if the government will take some step through disaster management plans, then the victims, they will also get moral support. Okay, so disaster plan are also useful at pre-disaster stage. So during the discussion of disaster phases of disaster, I told you that there are three phases, means pre-disaster phase, during disaster phase, and post-disaster phase, isn't it? So disaster management plan, it is also useful at pre-disaster stage when warnings could be issued. Then it plan again serves as guide to officials at the critical time, and precious time is saved which might otherwise be lost in consultations with senior officers and getting formal approval from authorities, isn't it? So neither economical nor practicable to protect every item and entire population against calamitous situation, isn't it? Then response plans are formulated for relief, rehabilitation and restoration by separate agencies. Okay, are you getting or not? Okay, so now come to disaster management. So you see here our country India. Okay, India, it is not visible. Let me enlarge the screen. So our country India has been traditionally vulnerable to natural disasters on account of its unique geoclimatic conditions, isn't it? So the situation of our country is in such a way that our country is always vulnerable, means exposed to different kinds of disasters like your floods, droughts, like cyclones, earthquakes, landslides. They have been a recurrent phenomena. So you all must have heard about the super cyclone, isn't it? So the super cyclone in Odisha was taken place in October 1999, isn't it? And you must have heard about also the Bhuj earthquake. Bhuj is located at Gujarat in January 2001. So over the past couple of years, Government of India have brought about a paradigm shift in the approach to disaster management. Okay, so the disaster management occupies an important place in this country's policy framework, as it is the poor and the underprivileged who are most affected on account of calamities or disasters. Okay, so now let us see that in disaster management what steps are there. So disaster management means, I told you, that a continuous and integrated process of planning, organizing, coordinating and implementing measures which are necessary or very much needy. Okay. So disaster management is nothing but a continuous and integrated process which involves several steps, like we need some planning, we need some organization, okay, or coordination, then implementing the plannings or measures. Okay, so prevention, there are several steps which we will discuss here in the disaster management cycle. Actually, what is the cycle we will discuss here. Okay, so there are few steps. One is prevention of danger or threat of any disaster. Next one is your mitigation. Mitigation means reduction of risk of any disaster or its severity or consequences. Okay. Then capacity building. Then preparedness to deal with any disaster. Then prompt response. Okay. To any threatening disaster situation or disaster. Then assessing the severity or magnitude, means assessment. then evacuation, rescue and relief, then rehabilitation and reconstruction. Rehabilitation means suppose someone's building is collapsed, then the government will plan to provide him another habitation, means another home, or cost to help or financially help the person to construct another home. Okay, that is your rehabilitation. Then come to the disaster management cycle particularly. Okay, so this is the cycle. Cycle means, as you know, that is a circular pathway cycling, isn't it? So here look, your disaster management cycle, it starts with mitigation process and ends with your recovery. Okay, okay. So you can see here, first step is your mitigation, then second step is your preparedness, then third step is your response, then fourth step is your recovery. Okay, so mitigation means minimizing the effect of disaster. Mitigation. Preparedness means planning how to respond when disaster will occur. Then response means efforts to minimize the hazards created by a disaster, because you know that when disaster will occur means it will affect the life and property, isn't it? Then how you will respond, or how you will put your effort to minimize the hazards. Then recovery. Recovery means returning the community to normal. Recovery. So now let us discuss what is your mitigation. So mitigation reduces the impact of disasters by supporting protection and prevention activities. Okay, and speeding recovery to create better prepared and more resilient communities. Resilient means what? Here is one word, resilient. Resilient means suppose you have lost your property, how you will come back to your own position, means you will get back your property, means government will assist here. So there are two types of mitigation. One is structural mitigation, another is non-structural mitigation. Okay, so here this is the picture, that here I mark that this is 1, 2, 3, 4. Here it is mentioned that this is first, then this, then this, then this. Okay, so structural and non-structural means what? Structural mitigation means construction projects which reduce economic and social impacts, that is dams, windbreak, terracing and hazard resistant buildings. Because nowadays you must have some knowledge that in the earthquake prone regions, the buildings, it is made with having earthquake resistant facilities. Okay, so this is the resistant, earthquake resistant building construction. You have or it is put the cross bracing, means reinforced walls using two steel beams here. Then here also you have shear walls, means in the wall, concrete walls with steel bars in them to reduce rocking movements. Okay, means when earthquake will occur, it will just try to shake your buildings. So if shear walls will be formed, means in between the wall, the concrete wall, the steel bars will be used, then the shaking will be reduced or less, so that it will put less impact on the buildings. Okay, then here in the base part, here you mark that there are some shock absorbers, means base isolators. It is used in the base of the building. That means it will absorb tremors of earthquakes. Shaking will be low. Okay, this is one earthquake resistant building. So this is coming under your structural mitigation, means mitigation through improving the building structures. Then non-structural activities means what? Non-structural activities is your policies and practices which raise awareness of hazards or encourage developments to reduce the impact of disasters. Okay, that is for example public awareness, different types of insurance, family plans for some emergency situation. Okay, so these were about your mitigation phase. Then second phase, what I told, that preparedness, isn't it? So preparedness is planning, training and educational activities for things that cannot be mitigated. So during the preparedness phase of the disaster management cycle, measures are taken to reduce the minimum level possible, okay, of loss in human life and other damage through the organization of prompt and efficient actions of response and rehabilitation, such as practicing earthquake and fire drills. So suppose earthquake or fire catches fire somewhere, means you must have knowledge that overdraft teams and other your safety teams, they make some drills how to act during a happening of fire or during earthquake, during flood, any type of disaster. So they are being trained. Okay, they also involve planning, organizing, training, interaction with other organizations and related agencies, resource inventory and allocation and placement and plan testing. Okay, so preparedness measures basically include preparedness plan, emergency training, warning system, emergency communication system, then public information or education. These are a very important schematic representation regarding your preparedness. Okay, so now let us discuss about your next phase, that is response phase. So response means the immediate aftermath of a disaster when business is not as usual. Okay, so response happens just after the disaster happens. So the response phase includes the mobilization of the necessary emergency services and fast responders in the disaster area. This is likely to include a fast wave of core emergency services such as firefighters, police, ambulance, etc. Then healthcare interventions response starts here in this phase. The focus in the response phase is on meeting the basic needs of the victims until sustainable community has been achieved. Okay, and it also may involve initial repairs to damaged infrastructure. During the disaster, your damage will occur to your properties, like your buildings, then to government properties also, like your electrification, water supply, okay, sanitation, then in communication system means road will be blocked. So immediately these things need to be cleared, hence the initial repair to damaged infrastructure. So as a gist, we can say that response activities are post activities geared towards then providing emergency assistance, speeding recovery operations, returning systems to normal level, then reducing probability of additional injuries or damage. Okay, so this is the important shortcut discussion regarding the response phase. Okay, so you can make your note from this, you will get a good content for your upcoming examination. Okay, then last phase is our recovery phase. So it is nothing but the long term aftermath of a disaster. It is also taking place after the disaster, when restoration efforts are in addition to regular services. The aim of the recovery phase is to restore the affected area to its previous state. Means we say it as resilience, isn't it? The lifelines, health and communication facilities as well as utility systems. Then the beginning of the repair of physical, social and economic damages. Then continued health monitor and care, reconstruction of vital facilities, then counseling programs, grants, and it may include economic impact studies. Okay, and we can conclude from the disaster management cycle that how to reduce the effect of disaster, then preparation for disaster, then after disaster how to respond and get recovery. This is the conclusion of this disaster management cycle. Okay, so you can use it as conclusion part of your answer. Okay, so these were all for today's discussion about your disaster management cycle. Okay, so you prepare your own note from these contents which I discussed in this video. So today this was all, and we will meet in our next video, okay, of a content with a content of this unit 3. Okay, so till then, bye bye, take care and be ready for your upcoming examination, and uh, don't forget to watch all the important 1 mark questions because those are very much important for your examination purpose. So bye, take care, we will meet in the next video, and before leaving I would like to request, please like, subscribe and share the channel so that like you other students can also be benefited. Okay, so thank you all.